So you made it back to another episode. See, it's funny. I knew you was always a fighter. There was something about you that read, I'm a fighter. Let me be the first to congratulate you. I know that every day is not going to be the easiest, and I know that getting out to bed can be somewhat of a challenge. But somehow you managed to fight another day. And this is why we even asked you to stay, because we know that tomorrow needs you. In this case, if you're somebody who's having a little bit more trouble fighting, you're having a little bit more of a hard time getting out that bed, you're not quite sure what's wrong with you, then reach out and get help. 3 numbers, 988, will get it going. You don't got to tell them your name. You don't got to tell them anything about you. You can simply just talk and get the resources that you need to get the help that you need. I can tell you right now, as a person who has had the opportunity to survive someone who has done it, I have used so many different resources to help myself because I am still wondering, what did I miss? And if you are one of those people who are not quite ready yet, you're not quite ready to hit the button on 988, you're not quite ready to dial 911, you're not quite ready to reach out to me to have somebody go through the process with you, then reach out to BetterHelp. I get nothing, zero, nada for promoting this. I simply use them myself. I do it for different reasons. Mental check-ins, mental well-being, just to keep the maintenance together. This is not a weakness, it's a superpower. So before you make a decision that you can't live with, and it's one of us who love you have to live with, make the ultimate decision to do something that not only can you live with, but we can live with you on it. Now let's talk football. Pride Nation. Okay. Let me go and get this out the way. Let me go. I know y'all looking up there. Y'all see Miko on this month from the Questionable Podcast. Let me go ahead and get him out the way because I'm about to get in there. Okay. Miko.
What's good, on, man?
Brother? You all right?
I'm good, man.
Man, y'all over there doing some things, man. I love what y'all over there doing. And I had a few people who was like, yo, Luke, that link you got on your video, the one that you got on there in the video. I said, what's one? I got a few of them on there. He said, the Questionable Podcast. I said, yeah, they nice, right? He said, yeah, man. I had to copy some of them shirts. I said, I know. I need to figure out who's their designer. Holy smokes. Right? So you're doing some big things over there, right?
Man,
so I want to give you opportunity, man. I want to give you opportunity to come on here and talk. You definitely had some issues with me, but I'm going to give you the same disclaimer, Miko. I'm about to rant a little bit. Okay? Not a lot, but a little bit. And this is going to be a real short show because my blood pressure has been up all goddamn day. It has. So I'm gonna get right into it because usually I go through figure out who in the building. To everybody who in the building, shout out to you, to the Troys, the Neil Greens, the B Farrells, the Micro Mikes, the Old Timer Daves, the Michael Hucks, the One Funky Lion fans, the Lions Lee, the Tactical Pumas, the Foot Clans, the Dan Spanos, the 313 Kurtz, the Dat Family, the Ricky Bobbies, the Craig Fergusons, the BD Buster, the Perry Ball, the Jon Kaplers, the Chrome, to the Vast Star Wings, Looney Tune. Dan Talk Football, Friendly Neighborhood Lions fan, to all of you who in the building, thank you for being here. But let me give you the disclaimer. I'm about to give you all of my truth. I'm going to say it's my truth because y'all don't want to accept it when it's any other truth. It's my truth. And if you don't want to hear this rant, this is your chance to tune out. I'm giving you your forewarning now. In fact, to make you have enough time to set yourself up to get out, I'm going to ask Miko to simply just do one thing. Miko, can you do one thing for me, sir?
What's good, man?
When I start to fully go into the full-out rant, feel free to blow the whistle and throw a flag on the play.
Oh, I got you.
All right.
Trust me. I'll throw it.
Clearly today, if you look at the thumbnail, it says, remember the 1st of November. And in case you didn't catch that, that is actually a quote that's slightly modified from one of my favorite movies, V for Vendetta. And I'm just letting you know that this is a day that you're going to remember. Because the Lions decided, in my opinion, to just say F the season. They have literally waved the white flag and threw in the towel. And it's really hard for a person like me who's a winner, who thinks like a winner, who wants to win, and see no other way but to win. And they have literally just said, I've had enough. I'm going to lay down. But the ironic thing is they're going to still win about 5 games, which is even more funny. Now, I want to address the thing that Miko is going to do, but I'm pretty sure that after my rant is going to tie all in, okay? Because Miko had a little bit of an issue, or he felt the need to defend something. The Detroit Lions today decided, and I know all of you know this, so it's not news, and if you was under a rock, let me catch you back up. The Detroit Lions decided to trade tight end TJ Hockenson to the Minnesota Vikings. And in return, they'll send Minnesota 2 4th-round picks plus TJ Hockenson, and we get a 2nd-round pick in the 2023 draft and a 3rd-round pick in 2024.
Make it make sense for me, Luke. Make it make sense.
This right here is about the biggest load of bullshit I've ever had to deal with because I'm tired. I am mentally tired. I'm physically tired. I'm spiritually tired. I am just tired because I do not understand why this keeps happening. First things first, you already lack talent, so you thought to get something. Now, I can follow the logic if you believe that, oh, he's our best chance to acquire some talent. Great. But what pissed me off was as they did the reports, they tried to trade Jamal Williams. Really? They also tried to trade for a defensive back and put it out there that they're looking for a defensive back and linebackers. You don't fucking say. Now, when I was bringing my ass on up here, talking about how the Lions were probably going to go defensive back with that first pick, then linebacker, and then they can go receiver in the 3rd round, I was told I was batshit crazy. Again, the disclaimer was for you earlier. If you didn't want to hear this, you might have wanted to exit stage left a long time ago. When I was saying that, I was considered an a-hole, but now all of a sudden, they want to fix it, which brings me to my next problem. If the issue is that now all of a sudden you want to get defensive help, why are we firing the freaking defensive back coach? If you're trying to still add to the secondary, why are you doing that? If you believe that the secondary was good enough to win with, then why get rid of RB Pleasant? This is the bullshit I'm talking about right here. To take it a little bit further, I want to just kind of bring it a little bit further home. I'm not trying to be funny when I say this, but I need your help in the chat. This is a simple question. Nothing crazy. Let me type it in there, right? I'm putting it in all caps. I'm not yelling. I'm simply just want to emphasize the point. All right? It's a simple question. All right? Oh, okay. I got to calm down. Yep, there you go. All right. Here it is. It's a simple question. Do you trust our GM to make the right draft pick with these damn picks? Now, before you get in here and say yes, before you get in here and start saying, yep, I absolutely trust it, take a second to think about this question long and hard. Before you get in here and say yes, remember Levi Onwuzurike, okay? Before you get in here and say yes, remember he was finna trade up for Penei Sewell when nobody in the front needed a damn tackle. Before you say yes, he was going to trade up for Levi Onwuzurike. And thank God John Dorsey was there to stop him. Remember that the same guy who traded up and took a fucking receiver who can't help you this year. And you, the fan base, gave it an A grade. If you believe that this man has the ability to do the draft appropriately and make those picks count, put it in the chat. Put your name on it, put your stamp on it, stand behind it. The same way that Denzel said in American Gangster, Blue Magic, that's a brand name. I guarantee you, I stand by it. Stand by it right now. If you believe that the general manager has the capabilities to make the picks right, put it in the chat. Because I want it on record, because I don't buy the bullshit. I'm not buying it. I don't believe it. I don't want to believe it. I told you from the get-go the problem with the GM. You're still concerned with the head coach. Meanwhile, we're getting rid of talent to acquire talent that we could have had in a draft. Let me bring it back.
I was gonna say I was about to throw a flag, but I was gonna let you tire yourself out.
Let me bring it back. Yeah, let me bring it back. You know, because this is the thing I don't understand, right? This is the thing I don't understand. That's another problem I have, Miko. And it's with the fan base. Because I don't understand why is it that every time we move on from a player, the fan base turn into some goddamn piranhas. You move on from Diggs, he's trash. You move on from Slay, he's washed up. You move on from Stafford, he didn't never win nothing, and all they all did was win Super Bowls. Every player we get rid of, not everybody's turning on TJ Hockenson. When he finna light your ass up 2 times a year, there ain't a singular player on this goddamn defense who can cover him. Do I need to go back and show you the footage of him bodying your 2nd overall pick? There ain't a goddamn person on this defense that can do anything with him. And you get to see him 2 times a year. 2 times a year. Now, I want to kind of keep it cool because every time I say something, I get told I'm crazy. But what you don't get is the things that I say sound crazy until it age well. Got people talking about starters. 5 starters, including J-Mo on this. J-Mo ain't starting shit. He may not even play. They're giving up. He may not play. He may get 7 snaps, and that's the whole season for him. They gave up. Today was a day they threw in the towel like some cowards. Talking about grit. The only thing they should grit is their goddamn teeth and pray to God that they all fall out. It's BS. It's BS. Your GM is incompetent. You worried about the head coach. Your GM literally told the head coach, I want tomato soup, and brought that man lemons and mangoes. I don't know what the hell y'all been looking at, but it just doesn't make sense. I would have been okay if they made the trade, got more picks, and just say, you know what, we got a 2nd and a 3rd for TJ Hockenson. But you had the audacity to throw 2 4th-round picks in there. And then on top of that, while we're still playing checkers, Quasi over there with Minnesota is playing chess. Isn't it ironic that everybody named Mama praised the J-Mo trade because guess what? We only gave up a 3rd. Well, goddamn, did we not just get that same 3rd back? But we're not going to talk about that. That's too much coffee. Y'all like tea. This is bull. You don't go out and be a seller on a team that's in the 2nd year of this rebuild or this build. You don't go out and be a seller. You're a buyer. You should have been a buyer in free agency when you had the 6th most cap going into it. You should have been a buyer in the draft when you had a chance to trade down and get more picks. If you was going to play this soft-ass game, you should have made the trade for Stafford with the goddamn Panthers and got everything you wanted right then and there. But instead, y'all have an issue with the head coach. You want to talk about Aaron Glenn. There ain't a single player that nobody pull up to this damn team and say, we got a game plan to stop on defense. And he came here knowing that the worst part of this team was defense. The worst part. And the first thing y'all going to tell me is 1,000 excuses of shoulda, woulda, couldas, and whys. And when he blazed our ass, the first thing y'all going to say is, oh, y'all can't wait for him to drop a pass to talk shit. Y'all can't. But right now, who's your best player? Right now, when you come in on offense, who do you think everybody's going to put their attention on? St. Brown.
Swift when healthy.
Swift when healthy.
And then you just let everybody else kind of just run wild. Like you just...
They're not concerned. These are all moves that this general manager made, but everybody trusted the draft. How many 2nd round picks he hit on? He's missed. Okay, I'm gonna leave it alone. Miko.
I was gonna say, technically, isn't he 1 for 1?
I mean, Pascal, I can't call it right now because he came in hurt. Half the people he brought here was hurt.
He came in hurt, but Pascal at least looks. I've seen more promising things out of Pascal than I have out of Levi. Like, let's just
this is true.
Call a spade a spade. Right?
This is true.
But to your question, do I trust the GM? It's a funny kind of trust, right? It's not unconditional trust. It's not a trust of like, oh yeah, like whatever, like we can go into this and I just believe that he's going to do the right thing. That's what I did last year. right? He killed the Penei Sewell pick. So everybody went into this draft like, oh, it's a no-brainer. You got the second overall pick. You're going to take the second best player. The problem with that is once there became a debate between Aiden, Trayvon, and Kayvon, it was like, oh, now we're in limbo. Now we really got to see if Brad Holmes can make those tough decisions. I think he can make the layups. If you give him a layup, he'll hit the layup every time. But if you put him in pressure situations, I think this draft kind of proved that. Again, I think Aiden has progressed in areas. I think the fact that they changed the defense a little bit will benefit him. But you and I talked about this a little bit. It's hard for me to look at Sauce Gardner and be like, dang, we probably should have said to hell with the whole position versus like positional value and just took the better player.
Bullshit.
But that's not, but like I can't just put that on Brad Holmes, right? Like Brad Holmes ain't the only GM in the NFL that's out here like you don't take corners at 2. There's a lot of GMs. There's a lot of GMs.
But you know who was good at taking players that was unconventional, and it somehow worked out. It's 2 people that did it. Really, you can argue 3, but it's 2 that stood out to me the most. Ozzie Newsome and Pete Carroll. When Pete Carroll took Bruce Irvin, everybody thought he lost his mind.
That's
right.
True.
Like so it's been done, but I understand that they wasn't picking 2, right? But the bottom line is this: if you look at this team, the biggest problem that they had was that damn secondary.
See, I would disagree. Okay. And I think this is perspective. I really do think this is a perspective thing because I went into the draft thinking like they don't have anybody on there that I believed. Charles Harris was coming off 6.5 sacks, and I knew he wasn't going to do that again. I knew. And I knew Romeo wasn't healthy, and I knew Julian wasn't quite there yet. So for me, it was D-line. It was always going to be D-line, and that's why you needed a guy to get after the quarterback. I had more faith that Amani probably wouldn't get 6, interceptions a year, but I thought he would be consistently like getting better. He would consistently challenge receivers and not be what he's been this year. And I personally just had a little more faith in Jeff than you did. I know you and I went back and forth about what Jeff would be this year, but I at least believe that Jeff was going to bounce back. I think he's bounced back better than I thought he would. So I was like, all right, if you want to roll the dice on like, okay, you have 2 good corners that you at least are confident in. After that, you had to rebuild that defensive line because there was nobody on that line currently prior to Aiden getting here that you were like, oh, that dude can at least go out there and get 5. I didn't think Charles Harris was going to get 5. Like, I really do still think that was a flash in the pan. He will never probably generate that Miko, type of production again.
Miko, can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Who were these 2 cornerbacks that you had faith in?
I had faith in Jeff and I had faith in Amani.
So you had faith in the guy coming off the Achilles tendon injury?
Yeah, I was.
Who they literally have been giving safety help to the entire time.
Yeah. But see, that was me though. Like I said, you and I talked about this, and I was like, I thought Jeff got a raw deal with the Patricia regime. I think we all agree on that.
He should have been.
And then he had 1 bad game, and we never got to see if he was actually progressing. So this was the year where I was like, I think we'll see Jeff make.
What about the safety?
Moving him to safety, or the safeties that we had?
The safety that we had that coming in.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, no, I always had faith in Tracy. Like I felt like Tracy has been drastically underrated by a lot of people.
Listen, I'm with you, but it's the other guy opposite. That was the problem. Remember,
Deshaun Elliott?
We had to experience Will Harris at the safety spot. We experienced all them other people. But my problem was that I was looking for somebody who you can move around and play in places. I didn't want no Kuda. I wanted Isaiah Simmons, right? I got people at the 3 games hitting me up telling me how great he's playing. But my problem I have with this whole entire process is this is just 100%. I'm done. And I'm gonna be honest with you, there ain't a quarterback, in my opinion, that I want to take in the top 5. There ain't. There's not a quarterback. I'm not CJ Stroud. Every time I watch him, the ball looks slow coming out to me. And if you talk about that guy from Kentucky, Levis, whatever.
Hell no.
He holds onto the ball for dear life. He's Justin Fields 2.0. If you go down to Bryce Young, so we're just going to go the Russell Wilson route and take the quarterback who can't see over the line when your center is guaranteed taller than him. Got it. Like, I'm not trying to be funny. I don't trust this general manager to do it, and I'm tired of people subscribing to this. It takes 3 years to build a team thing. But the dumbest pick was taking a goddamn tight end that we're now going to put our faith in. Well, it took us years to find a goddamn tight end. And then you go and take a guy who's hurt, which I know something you say is slander.
No. Yes. Listen, you want to jump to the JMO thing? I'll jump into the JMO thing.
Let's get into it, because I'm under the belief that that's not only was it a luxury pick, right? Not only was it a luxury pick, it was a wasted pick, because he's not going to come in and be anything close to a elite receiver. He's not going to be a top tier elite receiver in this league.
Okay, so that's going to be the thing that we're probably going to disagree on, and obviously, like, neither of us will be proven right until he starts playing, right? Like, so I won't even like argue that with you, because there's no point in arguing something that we haven't seen. I was of the belief that this season, like, I know you work in absolutes, right? Like, it's either good or bad, one or the other. When it came to me looking at the season, it was everybody had something different to accomplish. Dan Campbell, what he had to accomplish was that he had to at least be able to show that he could improve this team, go from 3 wins to at least 6, in my opinion. Jared Goff was the one who had to, like, showcase the most. You had to show that you could be the quarterback that could basically elevate a team to 9 wins. He's not doing that. So there's failures on both ends of that. Jameson Williams, though, is, to me, I will agree with you that it was a little bit of a luxury, but you're saying you're going to pick a wide receiver anyway. If you have the ability to go with the best one, then why would you settle for taking someone that's lesser than? If you have every ability to take,
that was available to help me now.
Or
better yet, think about it this way: how about I don't take the receiver at 12 and I take a linebacker who can help me now, or a DB, which they're trying to trade for before the trade deadline ended? How about I try that?
We needed a wide receiver. Thank you, Foot Clan. We needed a wide receiver. There is no way that you are going to sit here. We're going to sit here and pretend that a DJ Chark coming off of an ankle injury, a Josh Reynolds who has always for his career been a third option, and Amon-Ra, who basically is a great number 2 and will probably be, he's always going to be like the reliable guy. He's always going to be the guy that's going to operate in the middle. But you had nobody on the outside that you could go in, game out,
Miko,
and trust to win.
You said we had Chark, who had coming off an ankle injury, because the injury that our receiver coming off of is not worse than an ankle injury, right? That we drafted 12th overall.
I would say no. I would actually say that Chark's is worse. Considering the type of injury he had, like ACL tears, I feel like have become very common. We see people come back from ACL tears. It's a matter of how fast, and I think that's the thing that Brad Holmes has said. This is one of the, if we're going to talk about what you believe from Brad Holmes, this is one thing I do believe. Bringing him back early would have been the worst decision the Lions ever did.
He can't
because
help
if you bring him back early off of a torn ACL and he tears his Achilles coming off of that, because that's what OBJ had. That's what happened to OBJ. That's what happened to Kevin Durant, and I believe that's what happened to Klay Thompson. You rush these guys back from these ACL injuries because they become so common, and then they tear an Achilles. Now you don't have them for 2 years. So if you want to sit there and be like, you know what, we're going to let him fully heal and see what this offense has, because you felt like you had something palpable with the pieces that you brought in, I don't have a problem with it.
Let me ask you a question. What has Jameson Williams done for the Lions this year?
Nothing. Jared Goff hasn't done much of anything either.
We're not talking about the quarterback, though. We're talking about a guy.
I'm just saying,
we didn't trade up 12 spots to get him. We didn't trade up 12 spots to get Jared Goff. We traded up 12 spots to get a receiver who can't help us. So what has he done for us right now?
Nothing.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
It's not about right now.
Okay, so
that pick was never about right now. Nobody who here thought that pick meant something for right now.
I didn't think that the pick meant for right now. What I thought is that the pick was dumb. I think that what they should have did was get people who are available and can help you right now. Because guess what? At the end
that's
of
a
the
matter
day,
of opinion, though. That's a matter of. But that's a different strategy, right? This team was still building. This team was not, after that draft. This team was still not going to be competing for a playoff spot. Like that was always the case. Okay. As much as we probably hoped it would, no matter how much Hard Knocks got us believing that it might have been the case, this team was not going to compete because of Aiden and JMO. The hope was that they would be a little bit better, right? That they would be a little bit better for the future. And I still believe that they could be. Jameson Williams could still be very much better for this offense in the future, because he is finally going to be the thing that they don't have. They didn't have it last year. They didn't really quite have it perfectly when Chark was healthy.
Okay.
So
let me ask you this. I can't say what he's going to be in the future no more than you can say what he's going to be in the future, right?
Sure.
Okay. But I can say what he is right now in the present, right?
Yeah.
And right now in the present, he's useless. And as much as we want to talk this future talk shit, it don't matter when he's not even out here to be used. And my only problem,
hold on. But isn't that what draft? But isn't that what draft picks are though? Like draft picks aren't just for the immediate; they are for the future.
They are for the future too. But here's the problem: you don't go. Your defense was ranked what last year? And points given up.
I believe they were last.
Okay, and you come out and think you can trade up 12 spots and take a damn receiver who can't play. That's too much of a luxury for you to have. And in my opinion,
when you're not going to compete that year anyway, you're not competing. Like you were not competing for a Super Bowl that year.
Listen. We're not talking about competing for a Super Bowl right now. That's future, right? We're not talking about that. I'm talking about coming into this season. Coming into this season. The Lions' biggest problem and need was defense. You took Aiden Hutchinson, great. You could have literally stayed put. You didn't have to trade up. You could have stayed put, got you another receiver, got you a linebacker, got you a D tackle, and a safety, all in this one draft without doing a single thing but sitting and let the board come to you. You could have got all that, right? And when I look at teams who are succeeding in this league, the Bills and all of them, they have a stud at every level from the inside on up. And we don't have that. And instead, we took a receiver. And for some reason, this fan base love freaking receivers. Every time we take one, they jump for joy. They jump
because we haven't had an impactful one. We haven't had a star receiver since Calvin.
I feel you. That's the only explanation I can give for that level of excitement, right? We haven't had one since Calvin. So being aggressive and getting the top receiver in the draft class, like it's not like you got. I think I would probably agree with you a little bit more if they had traded up and they went and took Chris Olave, or they traded up and they took Garrett Wilson. Like I would probably be like, yeah, this didn't make sense. Why would you trade up that far to take the second, third, or fourth receiver in the draft class? You traded up and took the first. So that's like. And it was a need. Now, to your point, you're talking as if but JMO and James Mitchell were the only two offensive picks they had all draft. The rest of the draft, they did what you basically but they didn't. They didn't. You know why? You know why they didn't? Because they had 5 picks in the top 97, and they ended up going down to 4 picks in the top 97. And I asked for us to not only get starters, but impact players who can come in and help immediately, right? So when I look at what they did, they went out and they got discount people. You want to praise Malcolm Rodriguez has been a pick? Sure. I'm under the belief that had he been on any other team but the Detroit Lions, he is not playing other than special teams. He's not starting. It's just reality. Okay, there ain't a single person. The draft told me that when everybody just passed on him, and even right now, if you cut him, he's still not starting on nobody's team. So we can miss me with that one. But I'll give him the credit for it. So to go back to the point, they didn't do what I wanted, because what I would have did is I would have went and did. I got 5 picks in the top 97. I would have had one offensive player, right? Sure. But that offensive player would have been available to me. Now, if you get them and they healthy and they get hurt through training camp, I ain't gonna knock you for that. You brought people in who was flat out hurt. Him, Pascal, and Williams. Williams just got his first catch. Jameson Williams may not even play this whole entire season more than seven snaps. And on top of that, Pascal is dealing with a back injury. So now I'm looking at a GM who I'm saying, okay, fuck the draft. What did you do in free agency to shore up anything? Nothing. You changed the defensive scheme, and I really didn't see the moves you made to add to it. Chris Boards, where the fuck he's at? Deshaun Elliott, you brought him in. His ass was hurt. Ellis Anzalone would have been picked up as a last-minute free agent. You made him a priority. And it's ridiculous, because at the end of the day, you walked in with the schedule that was easier for you. They would have been better served taking Devin Lloyd. They would have been better served saying, you know what, I want to go and stay fast at my pick, and I'll take Jaquan Brisker. They could have said, I'm going to stay fast at my. They could have literally came out this draft after trading up to 12, took Devin Lloyd, came back in the second round, still took Brisker, and been better than what the hell they are right now. Instead, we're focusing on receivers and the potential of him being great. That's bullshit for me. I'm sorry. I just can't buy it.
Hey, listen, and that's fine. But this, like, when you make arguments like that, and that's not just you, anybody who makes arguments, like, you are putting yourself in a GM position that you don't have, nor are you qualified for. Like, and that's you and me both, right? The reality is, wide receiver was a need, and whether or not you were saying that you would have took one in the third. So it was always a need. It's just a matter of on your board, it was less of a need than Brad Holmes. And based on the person who was actually evaluating the team, that person said wide receiver is a bigger need. And we have the ability to get the best one. Is it cost a little bit? Sure, it's going to cost a little bit. But we're still going to get the best receiver in the league who's going to make this team better in the future, which we both agreed a little while ago. That's what the draft is for. As much as we want immediate impact, we still recognize that it's future assets as well, that you are building something for the future. So if someone can help you now, awesome. If they can help you next year, even better, because guess what? You still have to develop them. They still have to get better. It's still a long game either way.
Let me ask you a question though. What if he don't play good? What if he gets hurt again next year with a different injury?
What if, like, then guess what? Then that's the cost of rolling the dice. What if you drafted a Devin Lloyd and he never turned out to be what he is for Jacksonville?
Okay.
If?
That's a fair argument. No, that's a fair argument. That's a fair argument, right? That's a very good point. Fair. Let me address this really quick because everybody seems to not understand what the hell going on here. And it's okay because this is what this fan base do from time to time. They like to come in, they like to act like they're good with it. But I always get ahead of shit, and this is why I make such good life decisions. Luke, you sound mad because they didn't do what you wanted. Nope, they didn't have to do what I wanted, which is why they're 1-6. The same problem that they came into when he first became a GM was the defense. It's the same problem now. But we're not talking about the GM. See, he's the new Bruno. We don't get to talk about that Bruno, right? He's the same thing we had. And yeah, they didn't do what I wanted. And that's just why they're losing. Because I guarantee you, you're going to be having a hard time to prove to anybody that they're losing solely because of the goddamn offense. I have a hard time with that.
No, but you've lost 4 games because of the offense. I don't like.
What 4 games you lost because of offense?
You lost the first game because of the offense because Jared Goff couldn't generate much of anything in the first half.
The defense gave up how many points?
You didn't. Jared Goff had 1 solid drive in that first half.
I feel you, right? I feel you, right? But they still put points on the board.
But look at the team that did that to you. What is that team's record right now?
Oh, listen, okay.
Are they undefeated or
hold on,
not?
Wait. Hold on, wait. Go back. They still put up points with a team that's still undefeated, right? And the defense gave up more points, right? And in most games, you score 30-some points, you're supposed to win. But let's go to the next game. What's the next game the offense cost them?
The next game the offense cost them was the Vikings game, if I remember correctly.
And so the defense had nothing to do with that one.
I'm not saying no. See, hold on. Don't twist my words like that. I'm not saying that the defense isn't responsible, that they couldn't have played better. But if we're talking about like, hey, the defense did this, the offense needs to convert and just do X, Y, and Z a little bit better. That's my whole point with the Eagles game. Eagles, if you are more of a threat in the first half, then maybe it doesn't you don't have to do this last minute fourth quarter drive type stuff where you're trying to get last minute points and have to worry about.
The defense can hold. You wouldn't have to do that. I mean, let's be honest. The defense is not there. They're not even giving up games where they're holding teams to 21 points. So I'm just trying to figure out where we're going to get to the offensive problem, because if you score more points than the other team, you generally win, right? But when is the defense going to hold somebody just to 21? I'm not asking for you to do 3 touchdowns. When are they going to do that?
Listen, Luke, you were saying the same thing I said the first 3 weeks of the season. All right. I'm not here to debate whether or not the defense is or isn't doing enough. I'm simply saying that when I looked at the first game, I sat there and said, if your offense showed up for the first half, maybe this game is different.
Okay. Let me address this.
That's all.
Luke, you are not the GM, bro. I'm sorry they didn't draft who you wanted, man. Get over it. You think I say certain things and people love to just create separate narratives that have nothing to do with it. It's just, I don't care that they didn't take who I wanted. I don't care. Mm-hmm. They didn't take anybody that you or that another team is game planning for. And you just traded away a tight end that team's game plan for. The hell is you talking about? They don't have to take any person I like. I can like Megan fucking Fox. It does not matter if I still got Halle Berry. It don't matter. At the end of the day, they didn't get the Halle Berry. You didn't get a guy who they're accounted for on defense. Who is your stud on defense? Since I'm concerned about who they took, who's the stud on defense they took? Who they add in free agency that's a stud that teams pull up and got a game plan for? I'll wait. This is stuff I don't get. They come up with these weird side narratives that don't make sense. Acting as if though they did something special in the draft, taking a bunch of hurt-ass players because they were captains. But that's not what this team is suffering from. They're suffering because their defense is consistently giving up points and big plays. And they're giving up big plays because your D-line that you invested money in can't even sniff the ass of a handicapped quarterback. Meanwhile, your secondary out there running like chickens with their head cut off trying to maintain because your front seven is ass. Your average-ass linebackers is ass. Ellis Anzalone comes here and get to be a starter. Chris Board, a career backup, come here and get to be a starter. A 6th-round draft pick come in and just looks decent enough to be a fucking starter. And you have the audacity to talk to me about, oh, get over it? I'll get over it when you start to get more higher expectations. Expect more. Stop acting like this general manager and this team done something to deserve your respect. To say, oh, they did this and this. There ain't a single damn impact player on defense. Not one. And I'm mad. Stop it. I'm mad at the fact that this team continues to make decisions that don't lead to nothing. Meanwhile, while we playing fucking checkers, the goddamn Vikings is playing chess. Now, going forward, what are they going to do in this upcoming draft that's going to have them competing for the division next year against teams like the Packers and now the damn Vikings? But I'm mad.
I don't know if you can really throw the Packers really in there.
What are they missing? Receivers?
Yeah, and they probably won't have the quarterback next year.
Okay, so let's say that they I doubt that he leaves, but let's say that they don't have the quarterback, right? Then we can talk something different. In the meantime, his ass is there. He's still under contract.
Yeah, sure. I'm just saying, like, it ain't.
So
it ain't the Green Bay of old.
But what I'm saying, Green Bay, all honesty, Green Bay really just needed a receiver.
Yeah, no. And Green Bay really just needed to play Devontae Adams. Yeah.
And they really can still add receivers and still be back to where they was at. So my point I'm trying to make is what are we going to do to leapfrog them? Not a goddamn thing in that draft. Nothing.
No, but I think it. All right, I'm gonna address this because I do want to get back to the point where I was like talking.
Go ahead.
about
I'm sorry. My bad.
No, you good. No, you good. To address that though, Dr. Detroit just kind of said it. Like, I don't think they're really looking to compete. And like the Lions, I don't think the Lions are looking to compete not just this year but next year. I think that is what the TJ Hockenson trade signified. Like, you're not just giving up on this season; you are also giving up on next season because you are essentially. Put it this way, Brad Holmes had the ability to maybe hit the hard reset when he first got here, right? They could have did hard reset, cut a bunch of players, try to trade a bunch of players away, but they were like, no, we gonna take inventory. We're going to take stock of what we have and figure out who needs to stay, who needs to go. They have now pretty much hit that hard reset, in my opinion, with trading TJ Hockenson, because you have given up on this season, and basically you're signaling that next season is the restart, is the actual rebuild, because the only thing that you can do next year is to cut Jared Goff, cut Michael Brockers, cut Vitae, and cut Charles Harris, get a bunch of cap space, and draft a rookie quarterback and be like, look, we're going to just try and pay people as much as we can and maybe put something together. But it starts all over again because you now are going to basically be picking a new quarterback all over again.
So instead of it being a 3-year rebuild, it's a 5-year rebuild now?
Yeah, probably. And I mean, and Luke, if we being for real, both these dudes got 5- and 6-year contracts respectively. It was probably always a 5- to 6-year rebuild.
Okay. So let's stay with this. So what you're saying to the fans is they need to expect to suck next year too.
I mean, I expect them to suck. I don't care what you do as a fan. Like, I expect them to suck. Like, if you want to sit here, look, I got, like you mentioned earlier, I do a podcast with 2 other dudes. My boy Jon is Mr. Kool-Aid himself. Jon will find a way this offseason to have hope in this team, and I love him for it, but not me. Like, to your point, I'm a realist. I'm gonna look at this roster. I'm gonna look at who they pick up in the draft and free agency, and I'm gonna make an assessment based off of that. And I don't expect them to be very good next year. No, I don't. Especially whether it's rookie quarterback or if it's Jared Goff, I'm gonna just mail it in. It ain't gonna be good.
Well, listen, I was gonna tell you what I saw. I think if you look at this year, I think the Lions should have and could have beat the Eagles. It was week 1. They was coming out with new everything. There was nothing.
Yeah.
The problem was they had nobody in the middle of the field outside of freaking McNeil, and they just ran it down our goddamn throat. The linebackers couldn't do a goddamn thing, and it was just all bad. Your rookie, it was, nerves probably got to him. I forgive him for the first game. All right. The second game you go up against, I'm drawing a blank on the damn game because I just can't believe this shit. The Commanders. And so even in that game, you come out gangbusters in the first half and start to do it. I get it. Totally get it. All right. Right. Preach for me now, Mike. Mike say he has stage 2. Preach for me now, Mike. Right. So again, all right.
Yeah, you get the Commanders game. You
get the Commanders game.
You dominate defensively for the first half.
Yep,
defense,
for the half.
Defense takes a nap. Yeah.
So here's my point. Here's my point. If this is a 5-year thing, and they're going to suck this year, they're going to suck next year. That can't be healthy for this team because all it's doing is driving up your cost on free agents, and good teams find a way to balance free agency with a strong draft.
Can I hold on? Can I clarify real quick? When I say they're going to suck next year, I just mean like you're probably going to get like 6, maybe 7 wins.
That sucks still. That's still bad.
No. All right. I just want to be clear. Like, I think this year, I think you're like number 1, number 2 pick all over again. Next year, like
at that point, everybody should be fired. Dan Campbell should be fired. Brad Holmes should be fired. If you're picking first overall after going second overall, that's a hell of a regression. It's almost impossible to do that. You should be fired. It's a reason why the Jaguars moved on from so many people.
No, and I agree. Like, I mean, again, the only reason I would find it acceptable this year is because you need a quarterback. You need one, and that's the only saving grace that Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes will get is that if I'm Mrs. Hemp, I would be basically being like, so no Jared Goff next year, right? Is that what we're all agreeing on? Because if you're going to be this terrible, if you're going to get the number 1 pick, it better be quarterback or Will Anderson. Basically,
I'm just gonna put it out there to you. Okay, I'm tired of the investment into the damn D line. So at that point, it is what it is, right? But let's be honest, Jared Goff is still going to be the bridge quarterback, so you're going to get him another year. And so, well, it just is what it is. That's your general manager. He's so fucking awesome.
Well, that's your general manager. But to your point, like, and this is why I'm not refuting any of the criticism that Brad Holmes is getting because I do think some of it is justified, right? Like, trading TJ, fine, right? Had this conversation with Jon last week. I would be perfectly fine with him trading TJ. What I was not okay with, and the only thing that I have a problem with a part of this deal is that you traded him in division.
It doesn't matter though, because remember everybody clowns crazy. Everybody. I'm just saying. I'm just telling you from the perspective of the fan base. What I've been saying. You saw the chat. You in the Discord. You seen what people were saying. That bullshit. How all of a sudden they want to turn and become attack dogs, right? So I'm saying, even with that, you already they're not concerned with him, right? No, they think that we got answers to this.
No, and let me tell you why it's a bad move, right? Again, trading TJ, great. So that's the equivalent of taking a step forward. You have got draft assets to build and get additional pieces for wherever you want on the team. The reason this now becomes a step back is twofold. You gave up draft assets, which I'm not a favor of. You've already given a team like a star quality player, but then you did it in division. So the gap between you and the team that is already 6-1 just got wider. So now your rebuild, you basically prolonged your rebuild even more by helping. Which is why
everybody got to be fired. And I'm sorry, everybody has to be fired. If I'm giving somebody 5 years, I'm giving Sean Payton 5 years. I'm not giving 2 newcomers 5 years. I'm not doing it. Listen, I told people that at the year one that we should have fired Matt Patricia. I was told that this is ridiculous. You can't fire a coach after 1 year. I said, y'all not hearing me. He's not going to do shit the second year. Second year come, he didn't do a goddamn thing. And I told people, can we fire him now? And everybody told me, no. It takes 3 years for a rebuild, Luke. And then year 3 comes, and I'm like, when the fuck can we fire him? Now we gotta wait 5 years with some more people, which is me. And I'm gonna tell you right now, that is the biggest mistake, because right now the biggest thing that people are going to judge Brad Holmes on is what he did with those picks from that Stafford trade. And I gotta tell you, he's gonna need for one of those picks that he traded and used to move up to go and get Jameson to really fucking pan out. Because if it don't, you thought it was gonna be a 5-year rebuild, we're back at the same goddamn place. We literally just walked in circles. And my issue is this.
Mm-hmm.
My issue is this. If the players perform, I don't really give a shit. I don't care about the picks. I don't. Because I got to trust that the guy who's going to get them is going to get them right. And I don't trust him. I don't.
And listen, based on the way the season is going, I understand why you don't. I do. I get it. I don't think any of us thought the defense would be this bad.
I did. I thought it'd be like in the 20.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
25.
Like, but it's in the 30s.
I know, but I realized it was gonna be this bad when that first game happened. I went, fuck.
Well, like, listen here. When the Eagles, did what they did, I was like, here's linebacker showing up. Here's, in my opinion, I specifically looked at Alex Anzalone. I was like, this is where you mean to tell me Alex Anzalone was guaranteed a spot? Y'all remember that in Hard Knocks when like Kelvin Shepherd got up there and said Alex has a spot?
Yeah.
For what?
Listen, I went off. I was like, bro, how in the hell does he guarantee the spot? Alex fucking Anzalone is guaranteed a spot. Alex Anzalone, why is he here? You ever seen what's got to do with it? You ever seen that movie?
Yeah.
You remember the scene where Ike's wife tried to like shoot herself? She remember she like, why is she here? I was thinking the same thing about Alex Anzalone. Like, why is he here? Why?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Like, I had a little bit of more optimism that one, I don't know what it is. Something about this coaching staff got me to believe like, okay, that they're the right people for the job, that they understand what these players do well, right? I expected certain players to take leaps. I expected Aleem to take a much bigger leap than he has. And it feels like you want to talk about like, can't talk about Bruno. I feel like we can't talk about Aleem. And like people get real defensive when you bring up Aleem, and it's like, listen, Aleem probably does his job really well. I expect more from my defensive tackle. I'm sorry. You can't be Snacks. If you can't be Snacks Harrison, at least.
You know why I'm not on Aleem McNeil's head as much as I am on other people's head? Is because I believe when they took Aleem McNeil, the idea, and this is another knock on the goddamn general manager. When they took him to be a true nose guard. And in fact, when they showed the behind the scene footage, he said he's the only true nose guard in here, right? Then you switch to a fucking 4-3. What do you think was going to happen? The same way.
Well, no, hold on. I thought Aleem showed the ability though to actually get upfield. I think he can do more than just play nose. The problem is he has nobody next to him.
But
which goes back to Levi. Which goes back to Levi and Aiden. Right? Because when you guys aren't like making the job easy for each other, like somebody has to be. Everybody wants to talk about how much Aiden gets doubled. If Aiden's getting doubled that much, then I don't understand why Aleem can't beat one-on-one blocking. Then
I think when you look at Aleem McNeil, I think he does win his one-on-one matchups. I think the difference between Aleem McNeil is I think that he's out of position. The same way I think a few other people are out of position. I think Okuda's clearly a safety, and it was shown in real time in the game against the
Cowboys.
The Cowboys. Where they put him in the box as a safety, and I'm like, holy smokes, he was filling gaps and everything.
They did not put him in the box as a safety. They just played their corners closer to the line.
Nonetheless, that's if we had a real safety, he'd have been in that same position.
Well, but again, though, I think that just speaks more to Jeff's skill set. I don't think it speaks to like, well, this is why he has to be a safety. I just think it's like, yo, he's one of the few corners in this league that will hit people.
You can't leave him out there by himself. And that's why he's not a corner. You can't. You have to.
Because he needs safety help? because he needs help.
Yes,
but he's not the only one.
I know, and that's the problem. That's why those other ones keep trying to find that guy who can do it, and that's why people like DK Metcalf are so disrespectful and shutting everybody down with that shutdown corner shit, because he knew the same thing, bro. You can't call him a shutdown corner. He always get help. That's just facts.
Okay, but people call Richard Sherman a shutdown corner. He only played one side of the field and only played cover 3.
But guess what?
We can't sit here and
but they were able to leave him alone though. They were able to leave him alone one-on-one with a receiver. They're not doing.
And guess what?
With Jeff
doesn't hold on. But outside of that Seattle game, Jeff hasn't gotten targeted a whole bunch. Like we can't sit we're not going to sit here.
Why would I target Jeff Okudah when I got trash ass linebackers and safeties who couldn't cover shit?
I'm simply saying that if Jeff is nearly as bad, or if he's not as good as you are trying to make him out to be, then they would be picking on him the same way they pick on Lee.
No, listen. I mean, I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not saying that he's bad. What I'm saying is he's out of position. The same way I believe that Aiden Hutchinson would be better served as a 3-4 rush outside edge rusher. And he's playing out of position with his hand in the dirt. I think that Pascal is out of position. I think if you look at overall what they did, they're out of fucking position. And all I'm saying is
the move to 4-3. Yes, the move to 4-3 was a bad move. It was
terrible. It was a terrible move. And all I'm saying is this. I'm not asking for them to reinvent the wheel. I'm asking for them to understand what the fuck the wheel was used for and just use the wheel. That's all I'm asking. And I'm not, again, keep in mind, people, I'm praying for every player on this team to be monsters and dogs, but I cannot lie to my own damn eyes. I can't sit there and get hype about a receiver who I can't tell you if he's going to play, because the last receiver I did that to did not play.
Hold on. But then you're also going to get upset about it, though. Like, you don't know what he's going to be. You're going to get just as upset,
because
if you can't get excited.
I'm upset
if you can't get excited, then don't get upset either. Like, it doesn't make sense for you to get upset about it.
I'm not necessarily upset with him as a person. I'm upset with the fact that you took a person as a luxury pick who's sitting on the sideline, who I literally watched on the sideline, always by Dan Campbell, but he's over there doing silly shit like playing with his nails and picking boogers and shit. Nobody talks about this, but just look at the screen when games is going on. He is not engaged in the game like that. And my only problem is this. We are expecting him to be this great receiver and be good. Cool. I'm with all that, right? But I'm trying to figure out all this stuff that's happening where I'm saying, now you want to trade for linebackers. Now you want to try to trade for DBs. And nobody took the bait on your DB and linebacker trade because the one asset you had was fucking traded in the division. And that's the problem for me. You traded this dude in the division. When you talk about you trying to get linebackers and corners, don't you think if you were trying to do that one of the assets I'm going to tell you the truth. If they would have traded TJ Hockenson to the goddamn Bears, I wouldn't even be upset.
Well, hold on. Because to your point, if you wanted, I will help pile on in this aspect with you, right? If you're going to sit here and say that you want linebackers and DBs, then you should have did what the Vikings did for you to the Bears. You should have made a deal that was so sweet that the Bears said, even though they in division, we're going to trade them to the Lions. That's what should have happened. You should have went out and got Roquan Smith. If you were sitting here talking about you need linebackers so bad,
right?
Then why didn't you do what Minnesota did? Minnesota didn't care what division they were in. They were like, look, we see a guy that we want. We need a whole field. Yo, y'all want to trade TJ Hockenson? What's the asking price?
Yep.
Why?
And remember, the whole narrative before was that, oh, we fleeced the Vikings. And I kept telling everybody, I don't know if I agree with that, because it was just a 3rd round pick, but is it? And essentially we got that same 3rd round pick back. So you didn't really do, and you didn't get.
Yeah, but they haven't really, like, they went and took Lewis Cine, and Lewis Cine ain't did.
No, right. Listen, here's the thing. Here's the thing. When they came in, I had to go and find press conferences and everything to see this, because I was really intrigued with what they was doing over there. When they came in, they did not deem that they needed to do a rebuild. They needed to do an add-on. So everybody that they brought in, they was trying to get 2 starters. But when they brought in Lewis Cine, they wasn't expecting him to get hurt. He got hurt, right? That was just the thing. And if you go back and you go to their YouTube channel, you can see their behind-the-scenes draft. They said, this was the general manager, he said, there ain't a single player that I feel comfortable taking at 12. I feel much better moving all the way down to whatever the later pick is, because it's essentially a second, and taking them from there.
But but again, that's situational. That's their situation. Like you said,
right,
they're looking to add on.
So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We're in agreement on that. Yeah, that's their situation. Yeah. So that's why I'm not trying to compare with them. I'm just making the point that my real issue is not with Jameson Williams. If Jameson Williams, if he was healthy and they did that, I'd be like, fuck yeah, because he could help us this year, right? But my issue is you can't take people who can't help you this year to sit, and then I got to wait 3 more years. Who in the fuck doing that?
I mean, I'm not sitting here telling fans that, like, I'm not sitting here preaching patience. I'm just saying that's probably what the reality of the situation is.
Not preaching.
I ain't preaching nobody patience. I ain't going to sit here and tell you that you got to, people pay hard-earned money to go to these games. I'm about to sit here and tell nobody to be patient. But it's the reality of the situation. When you make moves like you do today, when you make certain decisions to draft certain players, I do think, like, I get that they were both hurt. I get that JMO was hurt. I get that Pascal was hurt. And I get that Levi was hurt when they were drafted. And James Mitchell, if you want to say. I do believe each of those situations were different, though. I think Levi is the most egregious because that to me speaks not doing your due diligence. You did not truly investigate the severity of his back injuries to make that trade or to make that pick. I'm sorry. Jameson was it was cut and dry. He tore his ACL. At this point in time, it takes this long to get the ACL back healthy and for him to be ready to play. Do you want to rush that process with him? They said no. Pascal, you knew he kind of had a hernia thing. It probably got aggravated, and now he's out. But he's still playing now. At least he's actually playing now. Same with James Mitchell, coming off an ACL, but you knew you were going to have him. These are all considered. I look at them differently, just because of the simple fact that you did know that some of these players were going to play, and they still have faith that JMO is going to play. We'll wait and see if he plays. I think you got to play him just to see how badly Jared Goff's going to underthrow him, just so you can, like, make sure to check that box. But
I think Jared Goff will be here next year. I think
he will be too.
And for the people asking the draft questions, I just want to put this out there too. For the people asking the draft questions, I don't even want to talk draft. Because most of y'all like this trade. Y'all love this shit. Y'all was happy when Stafford went and said he wouldn't do nothing. He won a Super Bowl. Y'all was happy when we got rid of Slay. He won a Super Bowl. Y'all was happy when we got rid of Glover Quin, and all he did was show he had success and he was not the problem. Y'all was happy when we got rid of Quandre Diggs and he went to Super Bowl. All the people are winning and doing good. So I don't want to hear it. My only gripe with everything is we all bitched, moaned, groaned, and was upset at the fact that we kept taking hurt players and we did it again for 2 years in a row. And we all sat there and chummed down and said A for the draft, minus me. I didn't give them an A for shit. I said they're going to have to prove their grade. I don't even want to give grades no more. I gave them a C, and I didn't want to do it. But I'm tired of watching top-tier players leave. It happened with Sue. It happened with now TJ Hawkinson. And I can keep going. This stuff needs to stop.
So, hold on. So I got to ask. So do you not even like the value? Like, you don't even like the picks they got back? Or, like, because, like, I at least I like the value they got back. The thing that sours it for me is that you traded them in division and that you gave up picks in return.
I'm gonna tell you why I don't like the picks. I'll tell you why I don't like the picks. I don't like the picks. I don't trust the person who's making the picks to make the right picks with them. So at that point, it's a moot point, right?
So you wouldn't have traded TJ at all?
No.
Okay, hold on. Would you even if they weren't going to re-sign him? Because by trading him, that tells me that you weren't going to pay him.
But if I was going to trade TJ, it would have been next year. I'd have picked up the 5th year option, which would have still been cheaper, right? I'd have had the 5th year option, and then I would have seen how things were going, and then I would have said, okay, cool. I'm not trading the guy with a 5th year option because everybody's assuming that they got to go out and pay TJ. Nope. Vikings going to pick up that 5th year option, let him prove himself in that 5th year, then they'll pay him when Irv Smith is off the books, right? And the thing that's going to happen is we're going to end up seeing him for at least another 5 years, getting our ass handed to it because there ain't a single player on this team who can cover him. He was a problem for a lot of people. And when people don't realize this, most of them receivers, them little short receivers were getting open because people were so focused on that big-ass body tight end.
I agree with you. No, trust me. Listen, if we're talking about what we would have done if we were GMs, I would not have traded TJ. I would have paid him because I don't think 13 to 15 million is that much when you have a $30 million quarterback potentially sitting in the wings. I'd have paid TJ, cut the same losses that everybody's talking about that they can do next year to have 64 million. You would have had what, 51 million? If you would have cut all those same people, but just paid TJ 13. You still got a good amount of cap space. But that's me. That's what I would have done.
I'm with you.
But if you're not going to pay him, then this is where you can't let what happened with Sue happen. You can't let him just walk out.
I agree. But you still had a 5th year option that you could have exercised to your benefit, right?
I thought they already exercised his 5th year option. So
I thought they had. I thought they had a 5th year option. I could be wrong.
They already exercised his 5th year option. He would have played on that next year. So to your point, they didn't need to trade him this year. But I'm assuming the fact that he has that 5th year option and that Minnesota doesn't have to pay him right away. That's why he's a little more attractive.
That sounds more right. Now, Foot Clan says again, Luke, TJ was not going to help us win games. He damn sure going to help us lose them now.
Listen here,
damn sure going to help us lose them now. I can promise you that.
I disagree with that. I think TJ absolutely could have helped them win games if TJ had been utilized the right way. So
the thing that blows my mind is how everybody attacks TJ Hockenson like we game plan for the ball to go to the tight ends. Like I just find this shit to be amazing. We don't game plan to go to the tight ends. We just don't.
No, he's not. Listen, if TJ had Lamar Jackson or even Patrick Mahomes as his quarterback, he'd be getting the touches that he should be getting. Like that's my problem with people who say that TJ's not that good or he's not that impactful. You realize that TJ doesn't get to call his own number. This isn't Madden. TJ doesn't get to go out there and say, "We run in. This is what we run in. I'm getting the ball." TJ is at the mercy of his OC and his quarterback, who doesn't like to go through his reads all the time. And when he does go through his reads, can sometimes not put the ball where it needs to be put.
Which is why I did not blame Anthony Lynn for what happened. Because I said, I remember you was having a conversation.
Yeah.
You were talking about a player and you said, I find it hard to believe that
we were talking about Aiden.
Yeah, that they told him to do certain things.
We were talking about Aiden, about how Aiden likes to, when he's in a 3-point stance, Aiden likes to run down the middle of people's chest. And I said, there's no way in hell you're going to convince me that Todd Walsh is sitting there saying, "Hey, Aiden, go run into the middle of that man's chest." Down and down. There ain't no way in hell you're going to convince me of that.
But the sad part is, I feel that way about Goff with Lynn. I said, there's no way you're going to convince me that Lynn told Goff to just throw the ball 5 yards or less. Keep it right there, 5 yards or less. I just don't buy that to be the case. I don't. So, again, I'm not really arguing against you. I don't even think we really disagree on much, right?
Right.
But I think for me, the problem is I'm just over I'm over this. I'm over bashing players who leave us acting like we somebody special. Like Kerryon Johnson even had. Let me read to y'all what Kerryon Johnson said, and y'all.
Kerryon was on point with this.
Kerryon was on fire, and people got mad and tried to attack him, and he had to let their ass know, like, get out of here. Here's Kerryon. Somebody says, source told me that the Lions were close to re-signing Hockenson, and Hockenson wanted top 5 money. The Lions brass wasn't ready to make that commitment to a non-premium position, and he responded, "Hock is worth it. The Lions just don't see tight end positions as important." Is what the statement says. And then he goes and he says, "I really don't understand how the Lions think this was a balanced trade." And he shows the trade for TJ Hockenson. He says, "Oh, they really just giving up." And fans went to the defense of this team. Fuck that. They did give up.
They did. And this is, hold on, because so having a top tier, and I determine top tier by being like top 5, top 10 of your position, right? There's 30 some odd teams. If you in the top half of that, top tier. TJ's in that. We can sit here and debate whether you want to say top 5, top 10. We can debate it. But he's in that range for me.
Yep.
When you have players that range in the top 10 at their position, you don't give those away, in my opinion. You don't give those away for anything that is not a king's ransom. Now, if you weren't going to pay him, though, which is basically what the rumors were, was that they didn't want to pay TJ, then fine. Get him out of here and at least get something for him. Because if you're going to sit here and not value something the same way I would value it, then that's just a difference of opinion. That's a difference in profession. You're a GM. I'm a fan out here watching the game. But we're not going to sit here and act as if like TJ couldn't have helped them if he had been utilized the right way. We're not going to sit here and pretend that's a reality.
First of all, shout out to Hank with that cool ass photo with the lion with the cigar. Hank 313 Detroit Lions Blood said the 4th down faddish ass coach cost us a win on the road, Luke. I don't have a problem with a coach going for a 4th down. Andy Reid did the same thing. Now the person bat their eye, and all they said was, "Well, he won a Super Bowl." I don't want to hear it. It still was a dumbass decision. He went for 2, and then he didn't even need the 2. The 2 didn't change anything. And then for all the people who like to get on his head about these little small things, not a single person said a single goddamn word when he did that fake fucking punt because it worked. And y'all only get mad when it don't work.
Yeah.
Nobody said a single thing. He was so goddamn close to our own red zone when he called that fake punt. But because it worked, great call, coach. Great call. So be fair. And when we are going through this. Now, let me go get one more person because I know he's trying to get some understanding. And I like when people ask questions rather than attack me and just say, I don't get it. But my man Foot Clan says, so Luke doesn't trust Brad Holmes because he hasn't drafted well. I'm confused. I don't trust Brad Holmes because he hasn't done a goddamn thing well. He doesn't see what the main problem of this team is, which is defense. He doesn't do free agency well. He doesn't do draft well. What player has he drafted that you went about? And you can't say Jameson Williams because we can't see what the fuck he can do yet. He's hurt. And you can't. If you want to say Aiden Hutchinson, okay, let's say Aiden Hutchinson. He's had 2 good games. Great.
So I'm gonna play a little devil's advocate here.
Please do.
So obviously, again, the Penei Sewell pick I think is Brad Holmes' like crown jewel. That's his greatest pick that he's ever made. It is. And then you have St. Brown. And then I think Kirby has turned out to be a better pick than we thought, right? Like, no, he didn't come out the gate starting. He didn't take a starting position, but I don't think Kirby was ever going to take a starting position definitely not taking it from Tracy. And I think they had way more faith in Deshaun Elliott than, and I think Deshaun played pretty well when he's healthy.
Okay. All right.
Then you have Malcolm Rodriguez.
Miko, you see that on the screen, right? Where it says Penei Sewell is the guy you go ooh and ah over, right?
Yeah.
When the Lions took Calvin Johnson, was that a no-brainer pick?
I believe so.
Yeah, he took him I think he was taken 2nd overall.
Yeah. Okay. It was a no-brainer. All
right, no-brainer, right? When the Lions took Ndamukong Suh, was that something that was shocking to you? Because you was picking high enough to take him that high, right?
Right. Yeah, that was a no-brainer.
So outside of them picking in the top 10, what has Brad Holmes done?
Outside of the top 10?
Yep.
I mean, again, I think Aleem, Amon-Ra, even though, like I said, I expect a little bit more out of Aleem. Aleem has still been solid.
So Aleem, Amon-Ra, and who else?
So far this year, you have, Malcolm and Kirby.
You cool with Kirby?
I'm cool with Kirby. I think Kirby has justified himself in a way that I just like. I think there are some players that are gamers, and I think Kirby falls into that bucket. I think Kirby is a guy that maybe he didn't show enough to steal a spot from Deshaun Elliott, but he did enough to, like, when Tracy went down, they were like, well, we'll give it to Kirby.
I feel like Kirby and Tracy are the same player.
They are, but I think Kirby's better at playing the pass, and I think Tracy's better at playing the run.
Okay. Look, I can't argue with you. It says, Luke, you can't use that argument when Matt Millen took Mike Williams over DeMarcus Ware, where we took Jameson Williams over a a lot of fucking people. So
hold on.
Scenarios.
No, it ain't. The hell it
Why
ain't.
not? Why not?
Mike Williams is considered the greatest bust of all time. Like, we're not about to do that.
I think we got some other ones, but I'm just saying.
We're not about to do that.
I'm just saying.
Played. Mike Williams at least. All I'm asking
for is people to play for us this year and have impact, man. And I'm so annoyed that I started late because I wanted you to come in, throw flags on the play and everything. And I'm not even gonna do a long show because I'm just annoyed at the fact that we became sellers, and at that point, it's hard for me to root for a team that's willing to just give up.
No, I don't like it either. I don't like. I had kind of given up as a fan, but no, I don't want to see my team necessarily do it. Again, if you wanted to be sellers and you wanted to sell on like Amani, if you wanted to sell on Brockers, if you wanted to sell, hell, if you could have found somebody to take Alex Anzalone, like if you wanted to sell on certain players, right? If you wanted to sell on Julian, like cool, because I could be like, all right, you're just trying to get some pieces here and there. TJ was a bit of a shock to me because I think TJ could have helped regardless of who your quarterback is, right? Like, I think TJ could have helped because I think bringing in a young quarterback with enough weapons, like a young quarterback is going to come into this team, stacked O-line, have potentially had weapons on the outside and a couple good backs in the back where it's like, just like go out there and don't lose us games. Like, don't be Zach Wilson. Go out there and don't be Zach Wilson, and you'll be fine.
All I know is this. I'm gonna be real focused on quarterbacks hard now, right? Because it's clear that they finna go for it. Go Lions said, what happened with TJ? Got traded to the Vikings. We gave TJ Hockenson a 4th round pick in 2023, and a 4th round pick in 2024 in exchange for a 2nd round pick in 2023 and a 3rd round pick in 2024. And according to all the experts, we essentially traded TJ Hawkinson for a 2nd based on draft trade charts and stuff like that. Whatever.
So look, this is where I'll agree with you though, right? At the top of the draft this year, like if the Lions continue this trend, which I think it's very possible that they don't win. I think it's very possible they don't win more than 3 games again. I think they could very well have 3 to 4 wins and be somewhere in the top 5 of the draft this year. The one thing I will agree with you is I don't know if I love any of the quarterbacks at the top right now.
I don't either. And that's what of all the years to do this BS, this is not the one.
It wasn't last year though. Remember?
Right. But they wasn't trying though. They was trying to win. Remember, they was trying to get out of that position by winning, and they just didn't have it. It was too many injuries.
So I think we could see them make more of a defensive push because the defense is this bad in back-to-back years. I think again, I don't think you'll agree with them. But I think they will look at their defense and say, we have Hutch, we have Pascal, we have Rodrigo, we have Aleem, we have Jeff, and we have Tracy once he gets back from his injury, and we have Kirby. Those are your defensive players I think that they will trust to go forward with. Everything else is on the table. Everything.
I ain't even mad at you, man. I'm going to get into final thoughts because I need to go play with my kids to get my blood pressure down. I can't. I really can't, bro. Like I told my son, he was like, we gonna play hide and seek before I go to bed? Yeah, we're going to have to play some hide and seek because I need to do something else. I can't, bro.
I about to be hiding for a while, man.
Yeah, I just
Dad out here taking a whole
I'll go back to the 2 hour tomorrow, but I can't today, bro. I just can't. I'm too frustrated and irritated, to be honest with you. And I'm sorry. This fan base, how they turn piranhas is killing me softly too. And the fact that everybody is just okay with this. But I'm telling y'all don't realize something. I keep track of this stuff. I remember y'all names and everything. I do. And I remember what y'all said. And I'm telling you right now that some of y'all are going to be disappointed. It does not take 3 years for a rebuild. It does not. Let's get into the final thoughts, Miko. I know we didn't have as much time as I would like to get on and stuff, but I wanted to come on a little bit later because I wanted to talk to you. And I know you had some points on Jameson. It's just that for me, until he touches the field, I can't talk about a guy who's not there.
And that's fair. And like I said, if you don't want to talk about it, that's fine. I just think like it's also premature to criticize him or to be down on the pick. Not necessarily criticize him, but to be down on the pick. Because if he comes out, I know you feel like he needs to be Calvin Johnson to justify the pick.
No, not Calvin Johnson. What I mean is he going to be near Calvin Johnson's level where he's demanding double teams and people to account for him and all. And if he's that and he's still making big catches and still like a DeAndre Hopkins, who's not really the biggest guy, but he bodies a lot of people, then I'm like, okay, cool, right? If he's Devontae Adams, cool, right?
If he's Stephon Diggs.
If he's no,
really
no.
Oh no! See, I would take Stephon Diggs.
I feel like Stephon Diggs is a very good player. Don't get me wrong. But for me, I'm not taking Stephon Diggs as the 12th overall pick, and that's how you got to look at it. He's taking 12th overall. I'm not taking Stephon Diggs as the 12th overall pick. Like if I had to choose between say a Stephon Diggs and a TJ Watts, I'm probably going TJ Watts.
Well, yeah, right? I'd probably go TJ Watt too. But it's just, I mean, again, do I still have the second pick?
Yeah.
If I still had the second pick, I probably would take Stephon Diggs. I just would because I think he's that dynamic. But
Neil said he needs you to come back tomorrow.
Hey, look, man.
Hey,
I enjoy this. Your audience is dope, and I think you and I talked before. Like I'm a fan of what you do, and I think you do a really good job of putting on a good show and having a good conversation with people. So,
but that's why I promoted the hell out of y'all because I'd be over there laughing, especially when y'all came on with the latest episode with my man Gian come on. I'm like, man, what the hell going on? Gian looked like he was from Castaway and pissed off about everything when he came back to civilization. Like we still suck. I'm going back with Wilson.
No, man. Shout out to my guys, man. They do a great job. And so,
absolutely. But yeah, man. Neil, if you ever want to get on, I'll drop the link in it tomorrow. I want to get into the final thoughts and get out of here. Give the people your final thoughts. You already linked in the description, so you can just tell them to go to the description and tell them where the show at so they can come and show love and support and subscribe.
Yeah, man. The Questionable Podcast, like I said, we upload every Tuesday. We record on Monday nights. We upload on Tuesdays. You can find us on Twitter at QuestionableTZ on Twitter, and then Questionable T's on Instagram as well. So we do, obviously, like I said, we do the podcast, but we also sell a little bit of dope Lions apparel. So if you want to support us in that way as well. But man, like I said, Luke, huge shout out to you, man, and I'm very appreciative of the opportunity to come on here and talk Lions and just rap back and forth with you.
Hey, listen, it's always fun, when you come on and have level conversation. Even when we disagree, you still brought points that I'm like, nope, that's fair. Even though I used the point that you used back on me, that was a good ass move there. I'm gonna give you that one. I'm like, God damn, that's a good point. Okay, fair. I can't argue that, right? But yeah, it's always fun, man. This is why I support y'all, and this is why y'all channel is linked on every channel. And when y'all post videos, I try to post them on the community so they can know that it's out and do whatever I can to help people and stuff and try to show support. So that's what it is, because I want this team to get fair representation from people who care and people who know what the hell they're talking about, and that's what y'all do over there at Questionable. So y'all know me. I can't end the show unless I do it on a positive note, because there's a lot of BS going on today and a lot of negativity, and so it is what it is. All right. So let me get right into it really quick. Today's positive quote comes from a very unlikely source, and I'm not even sure why I'm using this quote, but I think it's necessary and it is needed. Okay. It's very simple. If you are irritated by every rub, how will you ever polish your mirror? Oh shit, we finna get personal right now. See, I realized something. Y'all skin ain't thick enough. You tend to take in too much, but when you take in things, it often means you're letting something out. And I think you're giving too much access to people who don't have your best interests at heart. Your skin needs to be tougher. And if you can't be rubbed the wrong way, you can't learn to accept who you are, because at that point you're willing to let other people control you. I find it funny that every time you get up and want to make a move, you don't know how to do it because you're too busy worried about what somebody gonna think. When all said and done, the only person you need to live for is yourself. Look in the mirror, clean it off, and when people say things, let it roll off of you. And the ones you gotta check them and move forward. You don't need to sit in it. You don't need to let them control it. You don't need to have the moment be held on. You simply just need to say to yourself, I'm bigger and better than this, and you don't get to have control of me like that. I hope that you guys can take some type of peace in knowing that you are always the captain of your ship. That ship will go everywhere you point it, and in most cases, if you point it in the right direction, everybody else is going to want to jump on board. So get ready for you to have some company with people who support you, with people who love you, whose eyes light up when they see you, who respect you, who hear your voice, and know that when you talk, it matters. Because if you don't take care of yourself and you get irritated by every single little thing, then the person in the mirror will never ever have a chance to clean it out, to see themselves, because they're too busy concerned with the thoughts of others. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, hit that like, subscribe, notification bell. I went light on the rant. That's why I had a man in here with a more level head to throw flags on the play and blow whistles, and he did a very good job of chiming in and shutting me down. So kudos to him. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, don't be no chump. Please do your research. We are out.